The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson includes 9 characters, all of which include the pictogram of a cowrie shell, a brightly colored, glossy shell once used as money in ancient China. Our first character is the cowrie shell itself, from oracle bone pictogram to the modern version. Pronounced fourth tone, bei, bei. Alone, this character isn't very useful, so we'll go on to other characters which combine with it. Our second character is 2 shells strung together in a necklace around a woman's neck. Pronounced first tone, ying, ying. With such a restrictive sense, we can now make only 2 expressions for a boy or a girl infant, 男婴 and 女婴. When cowrie shells were strung together in bunches of 10 or 20, they became a denomination of money. Our third character pronounced second tone, peng, peng. Later, this grouping of valuable shells was applied to groups of familiar people outside the family to become the character for pupils studying under the same teacher. The character you that we saw in lesson 31 was a person who came to your aid in time of need. And the 2 concepts, peng and you, finally came together as modern 朋友 to say friends in general. When calling or talking to little children, adults will often call them 小朋友, little friends. An example sentence meaning an adult friend would be 我们失去了一个好朋友. We've lost a good friend. The fourth character in today's lesson looks quite complicated. It's composed of 3 treasured items under one roof: jade, cowrie shells, and pottery, all of which were highly valued in ancient society. This character is pronounced third tone, bao, bao, with the earthenware jar, fo, also serving as the phonetic element. The character is used to express the idea of valuable, precious, and, if referring to people, honorable. 宝玉 is precious jade. When referring to a family pet or even a favorite child, it's common to hear someone say, 他是我们家的宝贝. He's our little baby. Another way to say baby is 宝宝, with the second character pronounced as a neutral tone. 我们的小宝宝要出生了. Our little bundle of joy is about to arrive. If one considers a particular skill to be on the verge of disappearing, any remaining practitioner of that skill could have their status raised to 国宝, national treasure. This title is often conferred on traditional artists such as actors in regional opera, puppeteers, calligraphers, carvers of religious articles, traditional weavers, etc. 她是技术一流的国宝. She's a national treasure of the highest order. The fifth character in today's lesson is a cowrie shell paired with the familiar cai from lesson 4, serving as the phonetic. So it's also pronounced second tone cai, cai. It means wealth or riches. This next example describes the tight-fisted skinflint in your life. 他是十足的守财奴. He's an absolute miser. The expression for a wealthy person, millionaire or moneybags, is 财主, as in this sentence. 大财主的他不怕人家走. For a wealthy man, he is not afraid of being kidnapped. And then we have the opposite situation, where a person needs to find a way to make money. 生财. 他不停地想如何生财. He's constantly thinking about how to make money. The sixth character depicts what looks like a man hugging his money, carrying it around. Pronounced fourth tone, fu, fu. From this idea of carrying valuables around, the meaning now also extends to carrying a load on one's back, shouldering any sort of burden. And, stretching the meaning further, anything on your back is in opposition to your face. So it means negative, as in these examples. 正电, 负电, positive or negative electricity, and 负15, negative 15, when doing math problems. The seventh character in today's lesson is a pictogram showing a sharp thorn piercing an object, which in turn is placed above a seashell. This combination represents the act of using a thorn to pry open a shell to get at the meat inside. It's pronounced second tone, 则, 则. It's also a phonosemantic compound with the thorn. Pronounced 刺. From forcing open a shell to pluck out what's inside, the meaning is extended to demand an answer, call a person to account, reproach or blame them, as in this example. 她是宝贝，父母从不责问她. She's their precious child. Her parents never blame her for anything. She never has to account for her actions. Of course, reproaching or rebuking someone often entails punishment, as in this example. 他动不动责打男生. He regularly physically punishes the boys. This is presumably a teacher before physical punishment was forbidden by law. And then we come to the phrase 负责, combining our two new characters. It means what others demand from us, what others will call us to account for, or, in other words, our duty or responsibility. 出事的话，你要负责. If anything goes wrong, you'll be held responsible. Notice again that the 话 can be used with or without an if expression such as 要是. In the eighth character in today's lesson, we can see the evolution of the oracle bone drawing of a cowrie shell with a superimposed net. Pronounced third tone. My. The net represents the catch of the day, either fish or other small animals, brought to market and offered up for sale to the person wanting to buy it with cowrie shells. The character naturally means to buy or purchase. Even in American English, we have similar slang references to shells as money. For example, to shell out a sum of money. And even, I paid 200 clams for it, meaning $200. Anyway, a buyer or customer is 买主, and to go shopping is 上街买东西, or simply 去买东西. Our ninth and final character takes 买 as both phonetic and semantic element. The oracle bone pictogram was originally composed of 形 above a cowrie shell, meaning to squint one's eyes and examine an object before handing over one's money. Later, that was replaced with the phonetic 买 plus a simplified version of 出, meaning to go out, suggesting that the catch of the day goes out in exchange for shell money. It's pronounced fourth tone. 卖. A seller becomes 卖主. The combination 买卖 means buying and selling, or business, a deal or transaction. The idea of selling seems to have a lot more expressions related to it. For example, 在街上叫卖包子, to peddle or hawk meat buns on the street. The expression describing an auction is, logically, 拍卖, because the auctioneer slaps the table to indicate a final price has been accepted. Here are three examples. 拍卖行 is an auction house. The noun usage of auction places the object first. 古玩拍卖, the auction of antiques. The verb usage places the object last. 拍卖土地, auction off plots of land. To sell out one's country is 出卖国家. 我从不出卖朋友. I never betray my friends. To show off is expressed by the phrase 卖弄, as in these next two examples. 你的日语不好，少卖弄了. Your Japanese is awful. Stop showing off. 她有才能，她不是在卖弄. She does have talent. She's not showing off. Another expression is 卖力, meaning to put out a lot of effort, do all one can, exert all one's strength. 他好卖力，技术又一流. He works tirelessly, and his skills are first-rate. Here is our color chart with today's 9 characters. 贝, 英, 朋, 宝, 财, 买, 卖, 富, and 泽. Here's a recap of today's lesson. 1. The cowrie shell, 贝, is used to represent money or anything valuable. 2 shells strung together around a woman's neck represent a nursing baby hanging onto its mother, giving the expressions for a boy or girl infant. 男婴, and 女婴. 2. Bunches of cowrie shells strung together, 朋, were first used as a denomination of money, and later the character was paired with 友 to create the expression for a friend, 朋友. 小朋友, little friends, is one way to call or talk to little children. 3. The three valuables in an ancient Chinese home were jade, cowrie shells, and cooking vessels, which were incorporated into the character 宝, meaning valuable or precious. 宝贝 can refer to anything highly cherished, from a baby, a pet, to a car polished with painstaking care. 4. Reduplicated Chinese characters often will change the tone of the second character. In today's lesson, we had 宝宝 changing to a neutral tone 宝宝. 5. The title of national treasure, 国宝, is often conferred upon individuals engaged in traditional arts on the verge of being lost. 6. By adding the phonetic 才 to the cowrie shell, we can create one of the characters for wealth or riches. 守财奴 is a miser. 财主 is a way of saying a rich person. And 生财 means the human desire to make money. 7. The character 富 literally means to carry around and depend on one's wealth, and is extended to mean to carry a load on one's back, shoulder a burden, or incur a debt. It's especially useful in the phrase 负责, referring to one's duty or responsibility, something you will be called to answer for. 8. Second tone 则 takes the act of prying open a shell to extract the meat inside and extends the meaning to include extracting an answer, calling someone to account, 责问, or blaming, rebuking, and possibly punishing them, 责打. 9. To purchase something is represented by a cowrie shell and a net, meaning to give money for the seller's catch of the day. 去买东西 means to go shopping. 10. To sell something takes 买 as phonetic plus a simplified 出 to create 卖, meaning to exchange one's catch of the day for shell money. 叫卖 means to walk along the streets and call out the name of what you're selling, usually food. 拍卖 describes the process of selling things at auction. 出卖 is to sell out one's country or betray a friend. 卖弄 is to show off, literally, to make as if you're trying to sell something. And 卖力 is to exert all one's strength. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.